Good morning, guys. Welcome to today's stock market live show. Really appreciate you guys being here today. Make sure to leave a like on the channel as you come in, and we got some interesting things going on. And as of right now, we do see the CPI coming out, and we do have the core inflation rate month over month up from 0.2 to 0.3. We have the core inflation rate year over year coming in how we expected, right? Exactly what we kind of thought. I was like, hey, this data most likely will come in line on this one. And then the inflation rate month over month coming in at 0.2, pretty flat there. And inflation rate year over year actually coming down to 2.5 from the 2.9. Consensus to come in at 2.7. So that could all be seen as good news for the market. But we'll see what happens with this going forward. It is causing some kind of reaction in the yields. Look like they are trying to uninvert again today. That is something to pay attention to. One thing we will keep our eye on is the dollar screamed higher. I put it on a 30-minute to look at the dollar so you could see after the data was released is when you really saw that spike in the dollar. So insiders have sold in this overall move. You have to be aware of that. The 4-hour is trying to curl immediately back up. The 2-hour is looking like it wants to curl up for the swing trade. So watch out. We do see some behavior here that could lead to actual downside for some rigged behavior. Now that could continue for a little bit of time. Right, that could continue for a little bit of time. And I'm sorry if my voice is a little messed up. I woke up just a tiny bit sick, so it might not be the longest morning stream, but we will be back this afternoon. I'm just going to try to rest up a little bit later. One thing I did want to check on today was the fact that Nvidia's up 1.5%, heading up, could head up another couple of points to go up towards a weekly expected move. Just notice that the 2-hour is still negative. And then something I haven't checked on yet is volatility. Volatility still scaling down at this moment. You notice we got a small pop up here, and now we're heading to lower levels. So as of right now, this would lead me to believe if that daily can cross over, that we're going to see a few days of positivity. All right, we'll see if that actually holds true or if this 2-hour can turn back around at some point. But it looks like no serious bottoming is happening here, so we'll pay attention to it. This could be an extended move. One thing to note, the Dow is coming down, so the SPY is actually coming down as well. So even though Nvidia looks kind of positive, the market actually in some areas coming down. 113 would be a unexpected thing for this week for Nvidia. Most likely that would go on into next week. I think it's possible. Like I think even 116 is possible this week. But the thing is that weekly expected move is sitting right around 112. So to get to 113, you can see that little bit more of a reaction, but that's the likely place somewhere around 112 that you start to see a little bit of resistance come in. If you burst through that, I would say something like a 116 would make sense. Jensen Huang is talking at 10:30 Eastern. Why is he talking, and is he going to talk about how he sold another 53 million in stock last week? I guess we'll see. Sorry if my energy is a little low, just woke up a little bit. Yeah, you know what I mean? Oh, Kapil, thank you so much for the email last night. Hopefully we were able to chat, make you feel a little bit more at ease. You have some time, right? Just have that plan set. Wish I had more energy for you, Kapil. Who's the Jensen guy? I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the CEO of Nvidia. What am I expecting today? Well, as we got those flat numbers, I'm still expecting positivity, and I think we're going to see a difference where the SPY still heads upward and the dollar heads up at the same time. But that can take over at any time. We have to pay attention to the PCC. So if we're going to pay attention to today, we need people to go dramatically to the call side. And then for the actual SPY, you'll see this 30-minute roll down, maybe go make a stronger base. But for the most part, I think we will end up at higher levels. The volatility trying to get a reaction. Still has pretty close to the center line here. I'd say the divergence point's still holding pretty well. Yeah, you still mainly have it on the MACD, not on the RSI, so that could just be some kind of pop and drop. GME down 12% as of right now. A big move was priced in with the earnings. A big move is still able to go lower from here, just so you are aware. You can head lower from here. I don't know why GameStop earnings was magically bad for AMC. One cool thing I was noticing was AMC in some areas has possibly a acquisition or merger, and GME actually has those same signals. Mainly just a rumor right now, but if you didn't know, about 5 months ago I sent an email to Roaring Kitty saying I think GME should invest and merge with AMC, and they should have gaming events, and I wrote a big email about what they could do as far as kind of like a new product for entertainment, and I thought that it was really cool. And now you're seeing the rumors out there that GME might be acquiring or merging in some way with AMC, but we'll see. That's just a rumor. But that'd be cool. I'd be pumped for it. All right, Nvidia heading even higher here, going up towards a weekly expected move. SMCI up 1%. We got to pay attention to some daily curl ups as well, as the 2 hours been going up for quite some time. It just needs to go up for a little bit longer, and you might have yourself a daily curl up. Ugh, energy level is so low. It's awful. Volatility really popped off right there. Yeah, volatility really popped off right there. So the dollar moving higher with that news, just pay attention to that. That is some selling. We'll see that PCC in about 10 minutes or so. But volatility really moving from that. We got to see if 30 minutes are able to cross. If 30 minutes cross, then we might be heading lower down into make a stronger base here. Maybe that makes a 2-hour divergence at the same time. That would be a solid little setup. What are you doing? Q's, what are you doing? You're getting more excited. Nvidia, did you turn down at some point? No, going up towards, still trying to go up towards that weekly expected move, it seems. Mara dropped off. Bitcoin dropping off. Good move from Bitcoin, then the little divergence to give you that 2-hour drop. 2-hour dropping could be a overall cup and handle situation still. We'll see. This has to rotate back up for that. Palantir dropping off. There you go. There's Palantir dropping off. Just seemed like a 30-minute or 2-hour pullback is likely right now. You're getting the 30-minute pullback scenario. If that escalates, the 2-hour can start to pull down. And gold dropping off a little bit there. Oh gosh. Yeah, the Dow is not liking whatever the frick is going on. Yeah, I kind of like the look of gold to the downside now. I don't mind it. 2-hour close to the center line, you see some extreme selling. Dollar really pops off. Maybe that starts up after options expiration on Friday. Yeah, it's just like that sometimes, you know, and for Indeed, it's just like that sometimes. Kind of just waiting for a good trade setup at this point. The Nvidia one's still looking good, so now hitting an expected move, I got to take some profit on that side of things. Just take a little bit, leave some runners just in case. You're starting to curl up some bigger time frames here. So you're officially at that weekly expected move. Yeah, you're at the weekly expected move pretty much, so. Check on oil. Oil really giving you some divergence down here on the 30-minute now, right? Kind of spread out though, so, or on the 2 hour, sorry. Kind of spread out though. It is there on the 4 hour. I think that one looks pretty clean. There you go. So 4 hours able to see that positivity. We can start to rotate up a daily time frame. Daily's been beat up for a long time. Just a divergence on the RSI. Nothing crazy on the MACD. So it could just be a pop to retest something. Bitcoin, today's the day that it could have crossed and now it's rejecting. Could mean this 4 hour rotates down, gets that divergence point, or we break down from that level, so it could be bad. We'll see. Volatility on the 2 hour, need to keep an eye on that. If we start to get above 20 again, that's not going to be a good sign. 2 hour curl up for volatility would not be a good sign. Yeah, I mean, I watched the debate. I caught on to the moderators like really early on. I was like, very fishy stuff there. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You kind of have to know that's going to happen if you're Donald Trump. You have to be prepared for that in some way. I think he thought it would be a lot like the Biden one, where they're kind of calling out, you know, lies people are saying back and forth. They called out Biden on a few things, but there was about, you know, I would say 7 lies I could list off from one side that just never got called out, and they just allowed it. They were just like, okay, so it is what it is. At the end of the day, I don't think the debate like really changed anything. I think it did make Kamala look a little bit better. Yeah, it just seemed like a nothing burger to me, but I think it did make Kamala look better because she knew what she was talking about, which is why I was like, I've never seen her talk like this before, and I immediately turned to my wife and I was like, she got the questions. I said that in the first like 10 minutes. I was like, there's no way she didn't get the questions. She's never been this prepared. She's never known anything about anything until this moment. It's just very fishy. But it is what it is. It did make her look better. But we got stocks to look at today, you know what I'm saying? I'm not feeling the best, so politics don't sound fun. You hear earpiece? I don't know if that's an earpiece. I don't know about that, but I wouldn't put it by it. I did turn to my wife and I was like, she might have an earpiece behind her hair. That's what I said, because I've never heard her talk like this. Is Tesla looking weak? Let's go look at Tesla real quick. Sorry for the energy level again, but just not feeling the best this morning. I need to take like a really hot shower and take a little sleep or something, take some medicine. So Tesla turns over for a 30-minute, that would be more of a bad thing. Tinfoil, tinfoil, tinfoil. Yeah, I think the earpiece thing might be a stretch, but I think we know the questions probably got leaked because she does not know that much. I'm gonna tell you right now. Just like watch any interview in the past before that one and you're like, whoa, it's totally different. So something fishy's there. What you see is not what you get. What you see is what you see. So that's what I see. Doesn't mean I have to be right, but that's what I see right now, so I'm not going to try to contradict it. SPY doesn't close at 549.48 or higher today. A certain indicator will have failed to happen for the first time in 4 years, meaning SPY is losing strength. I mean, SPY's kind of losing its strength right now. I think just that 30-minute curl over is going to tell a lot. The Dow is just going straight down, so this is most likely some trap behavior. I really want to see that PCC, but you do see the dollar just screamed higher after getting that info. Oh, trust me, I get politics. I don't know what part I don't get. I get politics. Politics are very simple for me. Was my life better 4 years ago? Fuck yeah. Is it bad right now? I'd say it's a lot more difficult right now for everyone and everyone around me. So that's all I need to know to make my vote. I don't need to know anything else. MJ, thank you so much for joining today. Really appreciate you subscribing. People are panicking, but dilution basically just means more capital for the company for economic uncertainties. I mean, it's what they should do. They're still at the stages where they're still kind of clearing house a little bit, where they should kind of, no offense, but it is good for a business to take advantage of any kind of upward if they can make some money out of it. That just gives them more cash on hand. I don't think it's like a bad thing for the business. I do think it's not the best thing for the stock price immediately. Interesting. Volatility still trying to scale up here. Watch for that 30 minutes, see if that thing is able to cross up for volatility. That can tell us a lot. Yeah, and I think that's what a business should do, even though you're not going to like it as an investor for a long term, right? If you're a long term investor, it's not a bad move. As far as Nvidia goes, you can see this continue, but as you approach that weekly expected move, you start to see weakness. We're seeing the dollar scale up, so something that might help is the PCC. PCC is still sitting right in the middle though, so it's hard to tell if Nvidia actually is going to roll over. We just have to see if that actually happens in front of us. As you're hitting a weekly expected move, it is less likely to break out as we approach Friday, right? It is less likely to end up in these areas, more likely to see us push through that level and then see that thing start to resist a little bit. It seems a little unpredictable. You got things like Nvidia up, you got AMD up, you got Google, Microsoft up, and you have Apple up slightly, but overall the SPY and the Qs are down, and I'm pretty sure volatility is curling up that 30-minute right now, which means to me, if volatility is increasing, then Nvidia might see that resistance up towards its weekly expected move. Good morning, Junior. How you doing this morning? Shoot, I need a water, guys. I'm dying here. There you go. All right, we're curling up on this 30-minute. We'll see if that can last for 22 minutes. As of right now, the SPY should be curling over on that 30-minute soon. We do have a daily move below us, so we'll pay attention if this kind of setup comes. But for the most part, we would say that could be a solid resistance level for Nvidia, actually. See if that can roll down, see if the 2-hour can roll back down. Well, now we know the market's heading down, and a simple thing to think of is there was insiders selling right when they got that info this morning. That's why it's like, even though we got that even reading, it isn't even reading a good thing. I think it causes the most confusion, and that's what we were stating a little bit. Face cam was disgusting. Yeah, it's gonna be disgusting today. I'm a little bit sick, unfortunately. I mean, you could argue CPI was bullish. You could argue that in some way, but is it enough like job done that we don't have to see those rates actually stay the same, right? So now people are going to start to be like, is that enough for us to, you know, actually cut? And that might come into people's brains, but overall, we just want to pay attention to the signals. The 30-minute here, if this thing crosses up, okay, volatility has a high probability of coming back in. The SPY has a high probability of curling down on contracts there. Builder's getting the smackdown. I don't know why this thing is not loading. There we go. Builder's getting it pretty rough right now. 30-minute curling down there for that. As you go over to something like nail, you're seeing that curl down. 2 hour, maybe we make some kind of thing down here. We can follow home builders a little bit to see maybe the market's going to do the same thing, right? The SPY. Because you see the SPY kind of has that look. Maybe it comes down like this, and then you see that wick up. I don't think that's a bad plan. So you still have some of the position, but got rid of some of it as well at that weekly expected move. That's just a diligent, good decision. I mean, that's just what a lot of people do with the weekly expected move. You have a 68% chance to land lower than there. You've seen a solid upside move. What does the 30-minute look like? It looks a little bit cooked, so consolidation is the most likely scenario. So at this move, as the 30-minute is scaling higher, that's a good thing, but now you have a chance to pull back, maybe retest these levels, and then see if that can curl up again. Notice that would take you into the end of Friday, going into next week. That'd be a good trade setup, in my opinion, for this to curl down and then curl right back up, and then the big move up towards maybe the gap fill all the way to 120 could happen next week. You see people trying to short the market again as of right now. Everyone trying to short the market as the dollar remains higher. We can see that rug pull. It's just the PCC is a decently high level, right? It's still only 0.95. As that thing, if that keeps scaling up, we actually could continue to squeeze. So you're kind of wanting people to flip to the call side, but this negativity in the SPY while Nvidia hits the upward weekly expected move is interesting. The overall thing we want to follow at the end of the day, not PCC. The overall thing you want to follow is our signals, right? So if this 2 hour is able to cross up, which it is right now, if that's able to cross up, that's what you need to be paying attention to. That closes in about 18 minutes. Or sorry, 30 minute. 30 minute crosses up. You got to watch that in about 18 minutes. The 2 hour, if that crosses up, well, you have about an hour and 18 minutes left for that. Oh, Apple tried to make the move and kind of failed there. Amazon looks like a good pullback here would be necessary. AMD, same thing. A good pullback here would be necessary. Notice that we didn't make the structure, right? We came up to this level. We didn't consolidate. It's kind of like the rug pull that last time. We didn't do this. So now, if we keep going higher like this, eventually we might reach down for that level. Yeah, that was Tesla. We just kind of went over that a second ago. Literally a second ago. Tesla just looks like 30-minute curls down, bad things can happen, right? 30-minute curls down, bad things. I'd still just, if I was looking for anything for downside, I'd be looking for, does this complete in 17 minutes, and then does it get a follow through? It says, hey, volatility can pop off here. It still has a very flat divergence all the way across. It kind of held the tapering, I would say, pretty well. But the 2 hour crossing up is the bigger signal to pay attention to. Yep, VIX is starting to spike, and Palantir is starting to drop off, but not significantly, right? It's still trying to build back up. I know 1.78% is a little bit significant there, but I think you're still looking at, you need some kind of 2 hour pullback. Uh-oh. 30-minute is dropping here, so volatility crossing is going to be a big deal. Nvidia starting to see that resistance. So being patient with any Nvidia plays might be the important thing here. You're seeing the dollar has bottomed. We're seeing the market is starting to turn down. We're seeing volatility pop up. Maybe we see a flash move to find that higher low. Definitely looks like it does want to come back down to this level, but we'll see. HGX dropping off, so the housing sector experiencing weakness is something to pay attention to. Hourly rolling down, 2 hour rolling down is the bigger signal, but watch for a quick reaction. If you don't get that quick reaction, you might be falling off, daily momentum taking over, maybe we head down even lower. Remember, you still got to pay attention. Is this a double top or is this a cup and handle in some way? And as of right now, as it breaks down from this level, you'd say, hey, that is overall breaking down, right? And then if you get that reaction here, that's kind of more leaning towards this. So you're really looking for that 2 hour to turn around pretty quick here for the housing sector. And if that happens, the SPY can do the same thing, right? So if that happens, the SPY can do the same thing, reach down like that and then go up. But we'll see. What if the hourly looks cleaner? I think I like that hourly look a little bit better. I know if the 30-minute cross down is what I'm really paying attention to. They had about like a 13% move for the week, either way. So it could still head lower for GME actually. I think like 1850 is the level, or 1860, something like that. So $1, pretty much $1 from here. Good morning, Nysen. What's my thoughts on the share offering? From the business perspective, share offering makes sense, right? Build more money, build more cash, build more cash, build more cash. Especially as things are slightly uncertain, right? Things are uncertain, well, they're going to be a holding company possibly with a bunch of cash on hand if they do those things. So I think they're making right business moves. Is it the best thing for the stock? And thank you so much for the $4, Jonathan. I'll go buy myself some Advil with that. Is it good for the stock price? I don't think so, right? I don't think dilution is good for the stock price immediately, but it is a good plan as far as what things look like today and what they can do as a business to benefit the business further in the future. I think it's a good thing. So it's bad for the short term. I think it's good for the long term. That's the best way to do it. PCC is starting to fall off dramatically, 0.77. So now we got to watch out for the pretty much now you're like, okay, we're going to get the rig move down. As that dollar keeps scaling up, we'll see if that can break through. Thank you again, Jonathan, for the $4. Really appreciate it. Hourly crossed up for volatility. Hourly turned down for the Dow. This is not a good sign. Now people have the call side. So now you have a chance for the rug pull to take place today. It looks like that rug pull's already started. The next 30-minute bar might be pretty damn important. Nvidia, we'll see if that can fully reject off of this level. GME still dropping. AMC. See, that's the thing too. Like AMC shouldn't just randomly drop out of nowhere. Their business is performing well. People are going to see movies, but because of GameStop earnings, we're seeing a big drop in AMC. It just doesn't make sense. Actually, it does make sense. Something fishy's going on. That's what it says. Volatility of volatility does have the potential to scale up as well. So looks like not only volatility, but volatility of volatility could pop up. There's a lot of calls for next week. I still think the earnings is overall a good thing, right? They're making the right business moves. It might encourage people to invest in the company, but if anything, you would say, hey, it flashes down to lower prices. Okay, that's fine. Now you got to see if that's able to build back up as far as the technicals go, because that's a big beatdown. So if this thing can start to swing back up, then you could say, okay, the moment's still there. Right, if this 30-minute can really build back up, even now, you would say at the end of the week, hey, as long as that 30 minutes curled up at the end of the week, you got a shot. Do I think it's good for the stock? No, I don't think it's good for the stock price yet, unless all of those shares get bought, right? More people get invested because of what happened with the earnings. They see they're making smart business moves. That's how I see it. Oh gosh, my energy level's so low. I got that like, you know, like when you don't feel good and you get it down your spine. Ugh, it's the worst. Build back better. Poopy pants Biden. We'll see. So now this 30-minute bar really matters for the SPY. That's starting to curl down. Looks like Nvidia might be the trap there. Let's see what's going on today. Oof. God, zoned out there for a sec. That's how. Oof. All right, Nvidia, come on, baby. Nvidia is flushing. It's not flushing by any means, guys. No, I think this could be the thing that's the trap right now. I was a fundamental trader when I was like 20 years old. I'm like 32 now. I started technical analysis, I would say about 5 years ago I started researching it. I think 5 or 6 years ago started researching it. It's hard to think of the timeline, but for the most part, I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago. I kind of like started really green on it, but I was also running my own business like fully back then. So wasn't the best, I would say, at technical analysis. And then once 2020 hit, I started to really go in depth with it. And that's where I started to, I would say, grow exponentially after, pretty much after that big bull run of 2020. I started to really deep dive into it, and that's where I really started to flourish, weirdly enough, after the bottoming of 2020. Unfortunately, wasn't able to make a load of money with that money pumping into the system. Oh, shoot. No, I haven't, Raphael. I need to add that. God dang it. I'm going to put it in my notepad. See, I have to put things in my notepad or else my ADHD just takes over. Add the rigged behavior video on the using technical. Oh man, I hope I feel well enough to do a closing stream. Sorry that normally I'm really upbeat. I was really upbeat in my video last night too. I thought it was a lot of fun, and then today is just a little bit rough. See if Apple can curl down. Amazon confirming, hey, I'm gonna at least get a 30-minute pullback. Nvidia still holding at higher levels, just kind of hovering. The dollar is still scaling up a little bit here. Volatility has cross-reacted, got that touch of the reading of 20. Gotta break through that to see some major volatility come in. So if that doesn't happen, if the 2 hour doesn't cross up, then this was a kind of fake out. TLT with a 30-minute divergence probably. Yeah, TLT 30-minute divergence at the high, saying, hey, those yields could actually pop a little bit. So Roth, that is in my notes now. I will try to get on that ASAP. Yeah, for Nvidia, we kind of talked about the structure to head higher, and it's there, right? So you're breaking through, get the retest, take off. The only problem is you actually got excited, you hit a weekly range. So now you're going to see that resistance, maybe consolidation, till it can actually break out. It's a buy date, but not like for a long. I'd just be a little cautious with the 30-minute for volatility confirming this. Means, hey, be cautious. Are we seeing like crazy things? Well, you are seeing the dollar start to break up again. Right, cross back up on a 4 hour. So crossing up on a 2 hour soon. So that can mean the rug pull behavior is here, and we could see volatility spike here for some reason. Right? We don't really care the reason, we just care which way stocks are going, and that's what we care to figure out. Good morning, Z Shoddy. How you doing this morning? Yeah, it just means be cautious. If you're seeing a good signal for upside, it doesn't mean you can't play. It just means, hey, just note, right? Have it in your notes next to you. Hey, volatility is confirming a signal right now. I need to be aware if that 2 hour curls up, because longs might be difficult if that happens. And you're seeing some rigged rug pull behavior. PCC at 0.81 was able to react back up a little bit here. See if that can break through. You still have about 3 minutes till that post. What are the Qs looking like? Qs actually, weirdly enough, could have a higher low for the most part. Something like that could take place. That's a 30-minute divergence at the high, so if that 30-minute rotates down, you can see more of a 30-minute pullback, more to get towards that center line. That could just be a reaction down to here. Then you have to be aware of reversals, right? But for the most part, you would say a pullback on the 30-minute does make sense, or a 2 hour pullback would make sense. Right, see that drawn out 2 hour pullback that just kind of leaks down like this, and then if that can curl back up, that'd be a good sign for a little swing. But 30-minute divergence at the high for that one. SPY still dropping, volatility now up 4.3. Ooh, it needs to be up like 5% to cross through there, huh? IWM really breaking down as well. Setting up a little divergence point, but if that doesn't turn around, then it could just be bad. HGX really flipping down. This is an early signal that we could see a drop, by the way. The housing sector is something I follow as kind of a pre-thing. And the PCC is low, so now you have the rigged behavior set up. And you're already seeing that slight downturn. 0.89% so far. These things just haven't crossed except Amazon has. See, I kind of like that look for Google. Microsoft probably has a little 15-minute divergence there. Netflix flipped to negative, needs to go back to positive. AMC starting to see something. GME is not. All right, but volatility in the PCC. PCC at 0.80. Dow really dropping. And volatility saying, hey, I want to break through 20. That's what it says. I can't sing this morning. My voice is messed up. I'm kind of sick. Inventory to come out within 20 minutes. See a divergence on oil. USO maybe? I mean, you definitely have a 30-minute here still. If you want to elongate that out, you do have a little 2-hour signal here that I'd be paying attention to. So for the most part, oil can see some ground here according to your 30-minute crossing, but if that goes positive, you really got to see, you know, I'd like the bigger time frame. This is like, hey, I could take a chance with it and then manage the trade closely. But then if that 2-hour curls up, I can say, okay, now that's going to be a little bit more extended move, maybe to something like 72.24. Didn't he? Yeah, I think this is overall topping out signals at the top here. You got a lot of divergence on the 2-hour. This is where I would pay attention for downside, but that still has to curl down. You're still holding all the divergence points. The big reason for that is on the weekly scale. I think this is the more obvious thing, is you see that popping up, see that drop off. Was it the daily maybe actually? Yeah, daily, see a big divergence all the way across. So anytime that flips back to red, I think could be a moment to pay attention for downside. Now, it is still relatively, I would say, positive. So if that does curl down, look for one more curl up, right? But other than that, that's what I'm seeing. Nvidia is starting to really reject now. The 30 minutes starting to reject off of that. We'll see if that can flip back to the downside. Looks like volatility has popped up above 20. There you go. See if that was able to curl up the 2-hour. Probably the next bar is going to be important. 58 minutes to complete that one. But this is saying, hey, volatility's popping off. That 2-hour can rotate up, then we might see something crazy. And the rug pull behavior is here. So yeah, I need to get feeling better. It's just a lot to pay attention to. I think I might have overdid it yesterday with the activities with baby girl and working so much. Oof. Now the dollar did stop scaling up still. See if that has its breakout moment. SPY now almost down 1%, heading directly towards a daily expected move pretty early on in the day. So just be aware, if this hourly does cross, it can make some kind of signal. Yeah, her name's Ariana. She's my first. She is about to be 8 months soon. Oh, it's definitely fun and interesting, that's for sure, but being sick makes it not fun. Yeah, so today's going to be a lot about can volatility continue, because you do have a daily expected move below you. You are outside of a monthly range. So that tells me I need to be aware of a reversal signal here to get back in that range. And then maybe we start to head up into September 18th. Or maybe this takes until September 18th to fully play out and create that strong base. Volatility is moving though. Dollar's dropping off a little bit. Would it be clear to say you personally have a short? I do not have a short in the market. I thought about taking a volatility call for a small second here. But I don't like to take plays if I'm not feeling 100%. I will say that. So I might just have to miss out a little bit because I might have to sleep today, and that's not a good thing. Yeah, if I take a trade and then go to sleep right after, I better pray that it's a great signal, which is a great signal. It's just, do I want to risk it when the market could just spike down for a second, right? It could spike down for a little bit and then just turn right back up. And then if that would happen and I'm asleep, then I'm kind of like not liking the play. So I might have to just sit back and relax for a little bit. That's why I'm trying to move slow and think before I speak, so I'm not saying anything too like I want to make sure what I'm saying is overall making sense before I say it, because my brain's a little funky. Doesn't help that the computer won't. So now you have to see, okay, so this is a key thing. SPY hitting the daily expected move, but the Qs aren't even near it yet. So this is where is the target for the Qs to head down here with a higher low, because that would make a lot of sense if this came down to this area and hit that higher low. Now, the other thing we have to pay attention to is it's running into the monthly, so this could be an area of support. But I think the more likely scenario is we reach down for that lower high, or higher low, sorry, and then see that curl back up, and we see the SPY go make a divergence. So the SPY goes and makes this divergence, fills this gap, makes a little double bottom, and then the Qs actually go react to that daily expected move. I think that's probably the most likely scenario at this point. GME, I don't know if it found a bottom yet. It's not down towards a weekly, well, it is towards the weekly expected move. It's not fully there. AMC seeing a little bit of positivity, but that's about it. Tesla is curling over. It looks like it could roll over. So some tech stocks are showing like, hey, I could roll over soon. Looks like Nvidia is giving up the gains. So Nvidia could end up coming down and filling this gap towards 102.75, right? Even if it wanted a higher low, that would be a great area to get to. That would really dip down into this zone. I would really like that. But for the most part for Nvidia, if I was short on this, well, then I'd say if that curls over, that's a good thing. And then anytime that curls up, if that just goes sideways and curls up, I know, hey, I need to get out of those short positions. But good thing to take profit up towards the weekly expected move. We did that, and now we get to make some money and manage the rest if we have to, and maybe make a little bit less on a couple of those contracts. We let that because in case it would run. But overall, good trade for Nvidia. I bought some USO. Zinc. I need some magnesium too. I finally got my my supplements, which are just pretty much vitamins. I finally got those yesterday. There you go. There you go. Come on, Nvidia. Do it. So I think that's the overall plan for today. That looks more like what the target is. Do something like this for the Qs, while the SPY comes down a little bit deeper and creates that divergence. Then watch out if this stuff starts to rotate back up. Now, we want to treat it as very bad, right? Curling over by the center line is not a good thing. Volatility is scaling up by over 10, almost 10%. 2 hour might be able to curl up with that. So this could all be very, very bad. We could see the rug pull, right? The dollar has bottomed. You've been paying attention to that. So the dollar has bottomed. Now volatility is coming in. So this can last for a few days. We could head even lower, right? If this 2 hour curls down, you can head lower. You can head down towards a weekly expected move, right? We just want to see if any basing out signals do happen in these areas. Yeah, it's kind of like if you don't make reversal signals today, you're probably heading lower. But we do get data. Data can change things. Yeah, DIA was the play. That was the play I was looking at last week. I ended up not taking it, unfortunately. PCC is, see how we're getting towards daily expected moves, and immediately the PCC starts to get to higher levels. We'll see if that can go up, up, and up. And then the dollar starts to drop off, right? So that tells you that maybe some buying is happening. We'll see. It just might mean there's more of a trap to be set. But as of right now, if that 2 hour for volatility curls up, I'd just be a little bit cautious of my upside plays for a bit. Look for reversal signals from the SPY. Did he already speak? I think someone said he speaks in about 11 minutes. I'm going to assume that the CEO of Nvidia is not going to come out and just talk shit on his company. Do you think we'll see a massive pullback? I think you've already seen a massive pullback, right? You've already seen a massive pullback. Now you're seeing that rigged behavior come in, right? We actually saw the PCC drop to 0.79, which then we started to really escalate to the downside, head towards that daily expected move. So I think this is where you'd pay attention for reversals, right? If we come down like this and we turn back up, that is going to set up a divergence for a double bottom. If we head lower, and where the target probably is for the SPY is whatever the SPY wants to be at when the Qs actually touch its daily expected move, is what I believe might be going on here. That would give the Qs a higher low and the SPY a divergence, right? So that's the signal I'm going to pay attention to right now. Great morning, can't get right. How you doing? Oh, to the upside? Yeah, I think an upside move is coming. I think some kind of upside move is coming. I don't think this was able to fully break down. So I think now we're going to maybe see something like this. And then we'll see if we can build back after that. But for the most part, that's what I think. If we're able to really gain some steam from that, you can go hit these levels up here. And then that's where I'll watch out for divergence. But pretty much, if you really zoom out on this, it kind of looks cup and handly to me, right? We go up to this level, we get that handle. So if we break through, we can see a pretty solid move. But is that going to be a trap? So that's why, because the dollar has bottomed, we believe any upside move will have sellers above it, and it looks like we were right to call that out. 30 minutes have curled down. We didn't want to go up and reach for that weekly expected move. Unfortunately, things change by the morning, you know what I mean? VIX to 22. I think it's possible. You get the 2 hour to curl up, it's definitely possible. But you need probably a whole other 2 hour bar. You got 48 minutes for this one to complete, and then you'll see. But the 30-minute signals gave you that signal. There's the trade setup. The Dow did cross over on its 2 hour, and that thing's just heading lower, guys. We might have some bad things if we can't reverse around early on today. So we'll be staring at the, if I were you, if I was someone watching markets, I'd be staring at a 30-minute today on the SPY and the Qs and seeing if they rotate down, give you some kind of reversal for a double bottom, rotate down, give you some kind of reversal at the daily expected move. That's what I'd be looking for. If you go a little bit lower, then maybe the Qs make that divergence as well, right? So that would just cause the SPY to come down pretty dramatically, honestly. What's really going on with the market is I think people want to, I think this reaction is because you had some arguments for the raising of probabilities for a 50 basis point cut. Like I said, 50 basis point cut means something bad most likely is happening out there. Something's breaking, the economy's slowing too fast, the recession is there. So now you're trying to get people to see enough data to where they go back to, okay, we're pretty clear at 0.25 or 25 basis points. But the ultimate thing is going to be September 18th when we actually get the decision. So it's just if we're not excited going into that, then most likely we see like 25 basis points. If we are excited going into that, then there's a chance you could see a 50 basis points. But right now, just so you're aware, the Fed all of the time has done what they've said. They say they react to the data. They have not reacted to the data almost one time. The only reaction you kind of saw was maybe the last one to say they were going to cut, but they've said they were going to cut in September for months. They said September is what they're leaning to. They've said that all summer. And so now that's actually happening. People are starting to make their guesses, right? Oh, are they going to cut by 50? Are they going to cut by 25? When they actually said, hey, we're going to cut by 25. So the highest probable thing is what they said they're going to do. Because they usually do not veer away from that too much. It's more, are we going to see something bad that makes them have to cut the rates by 50 basis points? A bank failure, unemployment rising. We didn't see unemployment rise. Banks have suffered, right? We're seeing some banks like these come down. right? But is that for a certain reason, or is that just because of the stock, right? So we have to see actual bank failures or something bad to happen in the housing market, something that causes banks to go into extreme stress. See a 50 basis point cut. As of right now, you just need to know they said they're cutting by 25 basis points, so they most of the time throughout their history, they do what they say. From what I see, if you take all the random talks out of it and their little, I would say, what's the word for it? Gaslighting statements and things like that. If you just take all that out and listen to what they say, all right, then they're going to pay attention to data, but they're going to they're going to cut by 25 basis points. Have we seen data to change that? I don't think so. Well, anywhere down here you can see a rebound because you're outside of your 68% zone. So anywhere in this area, and it happens to be right in a buy zone. Qs haven't even crossed yet. Nvidia's trying its best to hold up. This guy's what's holding up the market at this point. Look at your screen on the right. What's holding up the market right now a little bit on the Qs? Probably this guy, probably Nvidia. So everything else is red except Nvidia, and the market's remaining pretty okay. Yeah, 1% down. Oh, that's a big deal. But it's like, is that in the grand scheme of things? Because if Nvidia was down as well, these Qs would be down here. If Nvidia was down by 1.5%, like a lot of other stocks right now, Qs would be down here. And SMCI is green. One thing for SMCI to pay attention to as well is the daily scale. It's green, but tell me that this isn't a flag. Tell me that's not flagging in some way. Like, that's definitely a flag. So you got to be aware of downside, but then you also could be aware of the daily scale. If the daily scale turns up, that'd be a good sign for SMCI, even at these levels. Gold's starting to rotate down, just pulling back though, just overall pulling back with time. If the daily scale for gold actually does scale up, that would be something interesting, right? If we actually cross up that MACD and do that, that would be interesting. As of right now, I think there is weakness for gold that could be had as the dollar has bottomed, but we haven't seen that weakness come in yet. How far can this buy drop? Pretty much right here. This is the area. I think it could drop to test these lows down in here of 539, pretty much. So 539 is what I would like, especially if the Qs are going to go down towards its daily expected move towards 450, 150. I think the SPY would drop and go test these lows. I think that's definitely possible, Johnny. I think all I need to see to be convinced, like, hey, this can go back down to something like 102.75, right in this gap fill area, 102, 102.75, is a 30-minute crossover. And that would just tell me pullback looks pretty likely there. And then if it's going to pull back more and set up a divergence, then you're going to get that 2 hour to cross down. The 2 hour crosses down. That's when you can look out for a 2 hour divergence. And that's the real play to look for, honestly. 2 hour divergences for Nvidia are fantastic. You can see the last one, how that played out. Remember when we caught this one? 2 hour divergence at the lows, right? Pretty much triple divergence with this point here. So we had that triple divergence. That thing confirmed on this bar right here at 102.50. Upside, major upside there. So that's the signal we're kind of looking for here. Something like this, that would be fantastic. If it's on the shorter term, then we're most likely going to see a 30-minute be able to curl that up, and this won't be able to cross. All right, let's pop around and look at some stuff on 30 minutes real quick. So I'm going to try to rest up to come by the end of the day. I'm just not feeling 100%, so I wanted to make sure to come live with you guys and discuss some stuff because we did see some interesting behavior this morning. As of right now, some important things to keep in mind are the SPY has hit its daily expected move, the Qs have not. So I think the Qs do have a shot to go there. If they do, watch for Nvidia. If that's going to roll over on a 30-minute, that could see some downside, but watch for reversal signals. If we start to see reversal signals, then there's no reason to be like, oh yeah, Nvidia should go down anymore, right? There's no reason to say AMD should go down. Even though I think it's very likely for these stocks to pull back further, we don't want to ignore reversal signals if the SPY goes and makes one. So I'd just be very clear about that. The PCC is starting to rise as we get to that downward daily expected move. So if the Qs can get down there and we see a high PCC and the dollar starts to drop off, which the dollar is not dropping off, then we can see some bad things. But we can also see more bad things because of volatility. So it's going to be an interesting day. Just watch for your curlovers. Let your overall indicators do the trading for you. Just click the buttons. Make sure you're managing trades back and forth. But I'm going to try to rest up so I can come back to the live show later today. I might just fully rest up and make a YouTube video for tonight, though. Bummer of a day, honestly, for me. I have achiness all through my spine. It's awful. Yeah, the signals for Nvidia, and we're actually doing this, so I'll try to stick on for just a little bit longer here because the SPY are going down to this level. Are the Qs reaching down? Here we go. So we'll try to watch this just for another brief moment. This is either if the Qs can hold up at the daily expected move, you have a chance to set up those divergences for the SPY, chance to set up the higher low for the Qs. That's the main thing to watch here, all right? But volatility is scaling up, and that thing is scaling up fast, right? We saw the reversal signals on the 30-minute. That posted, it actually completed, and it broke through 20, so everything was a go for volatility here, and that's not good. That's not good for the stock market. So if we start to curl over on this 2-hour and we keep seeing something crazy, that can take place. But if we see that go extremely to the put side and the dollar starts to drop dramatically, you know there might be some insider buying going on there. Even if you do see that rigged behavior, the most important thing to pay attention to are the signals. So if this 30-minute, see where it's by that center line, see how it's dropping down to lower levels. If that turns around at any time, you will maybe have a divergence down here, right? Pretty significant, pretty significant. So pay attention for reversals in this area. But if we're going to keep dropping, then most likely Nvidia does curl down on this 30-minute and head down towards 102.75 in my opinion. So thank you guys so much for joining today. I really wish that I could have been a little healthier for you today, but I don't want to stay on here and just keep having this dreary attitude. Well, what I overall want to do is try to get better to come back live later today. So I will do my best to do that. If not, we'll at least give out a YouTube video for you later today. Just a quick note, I noticed some people grabbing the course yesterday. The course is still going to be on sale until tomorrow. So if you want to get that for 90% off, $150 for the swing trading course and the using indicators course down in the description. I'm going to add the rigged behavior video to the using indicators course by the end of the week. We'll say by the end of the week because I got to focus on resting for today. But thank you so much for joining today. I'm sorry it was a brief one. I will try to get better and see you guys live later today, or at least on YouTube later tonight. I'll talk to you guys a little bit later. How low on the SPY? I'd still be looking for, are we going to test these lows? And pretty much it's, the SPY is, whenever the Qs hit this, I want to be watching the SPY because that's the one with the divergence. Okay, I'm down, just Joe. QQQ 30-minute crossover. Yeah, so now you're looking very likely to come down towards this level. And then you just want to use this and say, okay, when this happens, if this gets tagged, I want to look at the SPY. And if the SPY is doing this afterwards, then I know, okay, I have a good chance for a bigger bounce, a 2-hour to reject, right? To reject and turn back up. All right, guys, I'll talk to you guys a little bit later. Thanks for joining today. Peace out. I might have to make some tea, Fartis. Do we just leave it all here? Well, yeah, it's manipulation, but we just label it as rigged move.